Target audience is 13 and up. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Dragoon Grip Attacker. This is Tyson's second Beyblade and the first one to use sort of the modernized sort of aesthetic for Dragoon. So this release introduced a couple of different things. The Dragoon heads on the attack ring that were sort of carried into all of the later releases. The first rubber flat tip, if you can call it that. It's more of a cone than anything. And it also introduced the Dragon Winder, which is the extended ripcord that would be released with every subsequent Dragoon. This Beyblade was released in 1999 and had the fixed spin gear system, so there's no way to make this left spin. This Beyblade was right spin only. According to some Japanese blogs, the early releases of Beyblade weren't super popular, but with the release of the sort of modernized looking Dragoon with Grip Attacker, sales kind of started to increase. That could be a combination of the manga releasing as well, but you can see the aesthetic sort of dipping into all of the later releases with Dragoon S here. We do see Grip Attacker shown on the front cover of the second Game Boy Color game, Fighting Tournament. This game was released in 2000 and follows the canon of the manga rather than the video game canon of the first game, and reworks the battle system to move from the sort of action RPG to more of a simulation RPG as far as the battle system goes. I'm not sure what the sales figure looked like for this second game, but it does follow the manga canon instead of the canon set up in the first Game Boy Color game. Additionally, the battle system was carried into the third game, as well as sort of a rework for the Game Boy Advance games as well. They would all stick to this sort of turn-based traditional RPG element. It feels more like a simulation rather than a hands-on sort of Beyblade game, which actually, when you think about it, probably works best, as that is sort of how Beyblade works. You launch it and then just kind of watch them battle. With this second game, they still stuck to the sort of evolution aspect from the first game and had different evolution lines for the different bits that you would level up over time, and then they would change form. Probably my favorite example is Armed Dragoon. I think this thing looks sick. It's basically Dragoon, but with giant cannons on it. Looks more like a Digimon than anything, but I think it's a cool concept that sort of got dropped early into the life of Beyblade that I wish kind of stuck around for a bit. We do see Grip Attacker in the manga after Tyson fights Kai and his ultimate Dragoon is destroyed. While Tyson is trying to figure out what to do now that he does not have a Beyblade, he remembers that his brother hid one way back in the day, I guess in their backyard, and he digs it up and adopts that for his own. Grip Attacker also makes an appearance in the anime up through episode 2 when he fights Kai, and again, the Beyblade is destroyed and is later replaced with Dragoon S. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and do a couple battles. We will throw it up against Frostic Dronzer first and see how it does. So the tip for the Grip Attacker base is definitely more cone-shaped than flat. Once you wear it in a little bit, it becomes a little more aggressive. This one is not super worn in, so it's definitely not as aggressive as a more worn one. So Frostic is definitely one of the better releases early on, so let's throw it up against something a little bit easier with Polta. So it definitely does a little bit better against Polta. It's able to KO it twice. Let's go ahead and throw it against Bearing Stinger. It's the first bearing tip Beyblade. It also has a palm tip. Pretty cool Beyblade. So the bit pops off here. I thought it was kind of worth mentioning that super early on, if your bit popped off, it was considered a point for your opponent, sort of kind of like the old school version of burst. The rule later got abandoned. My attack ring did crack here. I'm going to show you guys how I repaired this. This one I've actually repaired a few times because that crack is just keeps wanting to pop up. But a lot of people just toss the attack rings if they break, and you can repair these, so I'm going to show you how I do it. I do have another grip attacker, but I didn't want to use that one in case this happened, and it definitely did. So let's go ahead and fix this really quick. So I would not recommend like super glue. I used Mr. Cement Deluxe. This is designed for model kits, which is generally made of the same material as Beyblades, as Beyblades are early on at least were essentially model kits. So this basically will melt the plastic together. So I'm just gonna find that seam where that crack happened, and I'm just gonna dab this on and then sort of work it into that crack and then just let it set. And it usually holds pretty well. It's sort of up in the air how long it will hold, but for simple breaks like this, it's kind of increases the longevity of some of your parts, especially some of the early ones that are more prone to breaking. Unfortunately, Grip Attacker is one of those. It's one of the reasons why I think it's kind of more expensive, just because the attack ring is super thin. It's something they did with a lot of the early Beyblades. Yeah, unfortunately this happens, especially with the early stuff. So yeah, that's what I use. So the base for this is good for combo building. I definitely maybe would steer clear of using the attack ring. It's definitely more of a collector's thing. But yeah, let me know what you think of this video, guys. I appreciate everybody watching. Hit the like for the algorithm, drop a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next one. And a big shout out to our patrons, Jotomo, Lucario, Evoe, PJC92, Sammy, Roboto, and C. Thank you all for supporting the channel, and again, thank you everybody else for watching. Also, here's a clip of Max that I found as a kitten, so enjoyed that.